Life is a delicate balance of contrasts, light and shadow, joy and sorrow, gain and loss. We often strive to escape pain, to shield ourselves from hurt, as though it were an enemy to our happiness. But what if pain isn't the adversary we think it is? What if, instead, it is a teacher, a guide, an essential part of life's dance? Like a seed breaking open to grow, or the waves crashing upon the shore, hurt is not the end, it is the beginning. It cracks us open, revealing truths we didn't know we needed. And in that breaking, in that falling apart, we find something extraordinary. This is the journey we embark on today, discovering why pain, in all its rawness, is not just unavoidable but deeply necessary. Pain is one of life's most profound teachers, though it often comes in forms we'd rather avoid. It arrives uninvited with a sting that feels personal, as if the universe itself has conspired to unsettle us. Yet pain is not an adversary but a guide, revealing the depths of life we might otherwise overlook. In our attempts to avoid hurt, we often miss the transformative power it holds. Life is not merely about avoiding discomfort, but embracing it, seeing pain as an integral part of the dance of existence. Imagine for a moment the nature of duality. There is no light without darkness, no sound without silence, no pleasure without pain. These opposites define and give meaning to one another. Without the ache of longing, how would we recognize the sweetness of fulfillment? Without the sting of failure, how could we savor the triumph of success? Pain is not a punishment, but a reminder of what it means to be alive, to feel deeply, to care profoundly. It points us toward the things that matter most, sharpening our awareness and awakening us to life's preciousness. When we experience hurt, it feels as though the world has narrowed, trapping us in a moment of suffering. But this narrowing is not the entirety of the story. It is the beginning of transformation. A seed, before it becomes a tree, must first crack open in the soil. This breaking is essential. It is the first step toward growth. The same is true for us. In moments of pain, something within us breaks, but it is not our essence. It is our illusions, our rigid expectations, our false sense of control. And pain dismantles these, urging us to rebuild on stronger, more authentic foundations. The beauty of pain lies in its impermanence. Like waves crashing against the shore, it comes and goes. In its transience, it reminds us that no state of being, neither joy nor sorrow, is eternal. This realization can be liberating. It teaches us to live in the present moment, to embrace life in its entirety rather than chasing perpetual happiness or avoiding discomfort. When we learn to sit with pain, to observe it without resistance, we find that it loses much of its power over us. It becomes not a burden, but a passage, a bridge to a new understanding of ourselves and the world. The resistance we feel in painful moments is often where growth occurs. Think of a muscle being stretched or strengthened. It is the strain, the resistance, that builds strength. The same principle applies to the soul. The pain forces us to confront our fears, insecurities, and vulnerabilities. It challenges us to adapt, to evolve, to transcend our limitations. Each hurt, no matter how small or significant, leaves behind a lesson. Sometimes the lesson is patience, sometimes resilience, and sometimes the simple but profound truth that we are stronger than we think. But accepting pain as part of life's rhythm doesn't mean we seek it out or revel in it. It means we stop running from it. We stop seeing it as an interruption to life and start recognizing it as part of the process. Life is not a static state of happiness or sadness, but a flowing dance of opposites. To experience joy fully, we must also experience sorrow. To grow, we must first be broken open. This acceptance transforms our relationship with pain. It becomes not a curse, but a partner in our journey, guiding us toward deeper understanding and connection. In the end, pain is a reminder that we are human. It reminds us that we love, that we hope, that we dream. It shows us what truly matters and calls us to align our lives with those truths. It humbles us, stripping away the superficial and leaving us with what is real. And in that reality we find not despair but clarity, not defeat but renewal. Pain, when embraced, becomes a gift, a painful, often unwelcome gift, but one that carries the seeds of transformation. So when hurt comes, as it inevitably will, Don't close your heart. Instead, lean in, listen, and let it teach you. You may just find that you needed that hurt to grow into the person you were always meant to be. There is a strange wisdom in the moments when everything falls apart. It feels counterintuitive, even cruel, but the truth is that breaking down is often the beginning of breaking through. Life, in its infinite complexity, is not a straight path. It is filled with twists and turns, peaks and valleys, and sometimes to find our way we must lose our footing. The experience of being broken, of feeling as though the ground beneath us has disappeared, is not the end of the story. It is the moment the seed of transformation is planted. Think of the natural world. A forest fire, though devastating, clears the land for new growth. A storm, though violent, brings water to the earth, feeding the plants and filling the rivers. In these moments of destruction, something new begins. The same is true for us. When life tears us apart, it is creating space for something greater to emerge. It's not that the pain is pleasant or easy to bear. It's that it serves a purpose, one we often cannot see in the moment. In breaking down, we break open, allowing light to reach parts of us that were once hidden. There is a profound vulnerability in these moments of falling apart. We are stripped of our defenses, our illusions, our carefully constructed personas. And while this can feel terrifying, it is also liberating. Vulnerability is where authenticity begins. It is in our raw, unguarded moments that we discover who we truly are. The masks we wear, the walls we build, they are often protections against pain. But when those protections fail, we are left with nothing but our essence. And in that essence there is strength, resilience, and a capacity for growth that we may not have realized we possessed. Falling apart also teaches us about connection. When we are broken, we see more clearly the cracks in others. We become more attuned to the shared human experience of struggle and imperfection. This recognition can be profoundly healing. It reminds us that we are not alone, that pain is not unique to us, but a thread that runs through the fabric of humanity. In our moments of despair, we find empathy not just for ourselves, but for those around us. And in that empathy, we find the seeds of compassion and connection. One of the greatest lessons in falling apart is the realization that we cannot control everything. Life has its own rhythm, its own way of unfolding. We can plan and prepare, but ultimately we must surrender to the flow of existence. This surrender is not about giving up, it is about letting go of the illusion of control. When we stop fighting the current, we find that we are carried not to where we expected to go, but often to where we needed to be. It is in this surrender that we find peace, even in the midst of chaos. There is also an inherent creativity in falling apart. When the old structures crumble, we have the opportunity to build something new. The pieces of our lives, scattered and broken, can be reassembled in ways we never imagined. This is the essence of resilience, not just surviving but thriving in the face of adversity. It is the ability to take the raw material of pain and transform it into something meaningful. In this way, falling apart becomes not an end, but a beginning, a chance to recreate ourselves and our lives with greater intention and purpose. Ultimately, the experience of falling apart is a reminder of life's impermanence. Nothing stays the same, and this includes our pain. The heartbreak, the loss, the disappointment, they are all temporary. They shape us, but they do not define us. In time, the wounds heal, the pieces come back together, and we emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. And when we look back, we often find that those moments of breaking were not just necessary, but transformative. They were the catalysts that propelled us toward a deeper, richer experience of life. So when life brings you to your knees, when everything seems to fall apart, remember this: it is not the end. It is a turning point, a moment of profound potential. Embrace it, not because it is easy, but because it is the beginning of something new. Let it teach you, shape you, and guide you. And when you rise again, and you will rise, you will find that you are not the same. You are more. You are whole, not despite the breaking, but because of it. Pain is a transient force, a fleeting moment in the vast, ever-changing landscape of life. It arrives with intensity, consuming our thoughts and emotions, but it is not permanent. Nothing in life is. This impermanence is one of life's greatest truths and one of its greatest gifts. When we are caught in the grip of pain, it feels as if it will never end, as if the ache in our hearts or the heaviness in our minds will linger forever. Yet just as the seasons shift, so too does our suffering. It ebbs and flows, rises and falls, and eventually dissipates, making room for something new. The impermanence of pain teaches us to embrace the present moment, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. When we resist pain, when we fight against its presence, we prolong our suffering. Resistance creates tension, a struggle against what is. But when we allow ourselves to simply feel the pain, to acknowledge it without judgment or resistance, we begin to loosen its grip on us. This acceptance does not mean resignation. It means recognizing that pain is a part of the human experience, a wave that we must ride rather than a storm we must conquer. Impermanence also offers us hope. It reminds us that no matter how dark things may seem, the light will return. The deepest night gives way to the dawn, the heaviest storm eventually clears. This is the natural rhythm of life, a cycle of highs and lows, beginnings and endings. When we understand this, we find the strength to endure. We realize that our pain, as overwhelming as it may feel, is only a chapter in our story, not the whole book. It is a temporary state, not a permanent condition. This awareness of impermanence changes our relationship with pain. Instead of fearing it, we begin to see it as a passing guest. It comes, it stays for a while, and then it goes. In its going, it often leaves behind a gift, greater wisdom, deeper empathy, a clearer sense of what truly matters. The pain strips away the superficial, forcing us to confront what is real. It teaches us to cherish the moments of joy and connection, to hold them close, because they too are fleeting. Impermanence is not just a truth about pain, it is a truth about life itself. Everything we experience, every emotion, every relationship, every moment is temporary. This might seem like a somber realization, but it is profoundly freeing. It urges us to live fully, to appreciate what we have while we have it, and to let go when it is time to move on. It teaches us not to cling to the past or worry too much about the future, but to immerse ourselves in the present, where life is truly lived. When we embrace impermanence, we also learn the art of letting go. Holding on to pain, replaying it in our minds, or allowing it to define us only extends its life. Letting go does not mean forgetting or denying what we've been through. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and then releasing it so that we can move forward. Letting go is an act of self-compassion, a way of freeing ourselves from the weight of what no longer serves us. There is beauty in the impermanence of pain because it reflects the impermanence of all things. It reminds us that life is in constant motion, that change is inevitable, and that growth often comes through letting go. It teaches us resilience, the ability to adapt and thrive despite life's challenges. And it deepens our appreciation for the moments of peace and joy, knowing that they too are fleeting but no less precious. Pain, when viewed through the lens of impermanence, loses much of its power to paralyze or overwhelm us. It becomes a teacher, a companion on our journey, rather than an enemy. It invites us to embrace life in all its complexity, to face our struggles with courage and grace, and to trust in the cyclical nature of existence. And as we do, we discover that we are not defined by our pain, but by how we move through it, how we grow from it, and how we allow it to shape us into wiser, more compassionate beings. Resistance and struggle are paradoxically some of life's most transformative forces. We often think of challenges as barriers, as obstacles to be overcome or avoided entirely. Yet it is within the tension of resistance that we find the seeds of our growth. Just as a muscle grows stronger through the strain of lifting, our inner strength emerges through the difficulties we face. Life's challenges are not designed to break us, though they sometimes feel overwhelming. Instead, they are opportunities for us to evolve, to expand our understanding of who we are and what we are capable of becoming. In every struggle, there is a lesson waiting to be learned. It may not reveal itself immediately, and it rarely comes wrapped in comfort. But struggle is a teacher that demands our attention. It forces us to dig deep, to tap into reserves of resilience and creativity we didn't know we possessed. It compels us to confront our fears and limitations, to question the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we can endure. This process is not easy, but it is essential. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always worthwhile. When we resist life's challenges, we often magnify our suffering. Resistance is like trying to hold back the tide. It creates tension and frustration as we fight against forces beyond our control. But when we shift our perspective, when we see struggle not as something to be avoided, but as an integral part of our journey, we open ourselves to transformation. This doesn't mean we have to enjoy pain or hardship. It means we recognize their purpose and allow them to shape us. Resistance, when embraced, becomes the crucible in which our most authentic selves are forged. Life's struggles also remind us of our inherent strength. It's easy to doubt ourselves when we're faced with adversity. We question our abilities, our worth, and our capacity to endure. But every challenge we face is an opportunity to prove ourselves wrong, to discover that we are far more capable than we imagined. Each struggle we overcome builds our confidence and expands our sense of possibility. We begin to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as invitations to grow. There is a profound beauty in this process of growth through resistance. It is not about seeking perfection or avoiding failure, but about embracing the journey of becoming. Resistance strips away what is unnecessary, leaving behind only what is true and essential. It pushes us to refine our values, to clarify our goals, and to align our actions with our deepest intentions. In this way, struggle becomes a catalyst for authenticity, a force that propels us toward greater self-awareness and integrity. Struggle also fosters empathy and connection. When we face our own challenges, we become more attuned to the struggles of others. We understand what it means to feel lost, to grapple with uncertainty, to endure pain. This shared experience of struggle creates a bridge between us, reminding us of our common humanity. It teaches us compassion not just for others, but also for ourselves. We learn to be gentler with our imperfections, to accept that struggle is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our courage and resilience. And through resistance and struggle, we gain clarity about what truly matters. Adversity has a way of cutting through the noise, helping us focus on what is most important. It reminds us of the value of persistence, the importance of hope, and the power of small, steady steps forward. It shows us that progress is not always linear, that growth often comes in fits and starts, and that setbacks are not failures but opportunities to recalibrate and continue. Ultimately, struggle is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It is a natural part of life's rhythm, a force that propels us forward even when we feel like giving up. When we stop resisting resistance itself, we find a kind of freedom. We discover that struggle is not a burden, but a gift, a challenging, often painful gift, but one that carries the potential for profound transformation. It reminds us of our resilience, our capacity to endure, and our ability to create meaning even in the face of difficulty. And in that meaning, we find the strength to keep going, to keep growing, and to keep becoming the person we were meant to be. Life is a dance of opposites, a beautiful interplay of joy and sorrow, gain and loss, light and darkness. To resist one side of this duality is to deny the fullness of existence itself. We often imagine that life should be a smooth, uninterrupted flow of happiness and comfort, but this expectation is a mirage. True life is a dynamic, ever-changing rhythm where pain and pleasure, struggle and ease coexist. The key to navigating this dance is not to fight against its steps, but to move with them, to find harmony even in moments of discord. Hurt is not an anomaly in the dance of life, it is an essential step. Just as music relies on tension and release to create beauty, so too does life require moments of challenge to deepen its meaning. Pain sharpens our awareness, pulling us into the present moment in a way that joy sometimes cannot. It forces us to pause, to reflect, to reassess. In its own way, pain is an invitation, a call to engage more deeply with life, to uncover truths we might otherwise overlook. When we resist pain, when we try to push it away or pretend it doesn't exist, we interrupt the natural rhythm of life. Resistance creates friction, a kind of dissonance that only amplifies our suffering. But when we accept pain as a part of the dance, we find that it begins to transform. It softens, becomes less overwhelming, and eventually flows into something new. Acceptance is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to unhappiness. It is about acknowledging the reality of pain and allowing it to be what it is, a temporary note in the symphony of life. There is a profound wisdom in this acceptance, a wisdom that teaches us to trust the process. Life, in its infinite complexity, has a way of balancing itself. Just as a storm clears the air, pain clears the path for growth and renewal. It strips away the superficial, leaving us with what is real and essential. It reminds us of the fleeting nature of all things, urging us to cherish the moments of peace and joy that come our way. And in this awareness we find gratitude not just for the good times, but for the fullness of life itself. This dance of opposites is not something we merely endure, it is something we can learn to embrace. When we see pain not as a punishment, but as a part of the rhythm, we begin to move with it rather than against it. We learn to trust that every step, even the difficult ones, is leading us somewhere meaningful. The challenges we face, the losses we endure, the moments of despair, they are all part of the journey. They shape us, teach us, and ultimately bring us closer to understanding ourselves and the world around us. The dance of life also teaches us about connection. Pain, though deeply personal, is also universal. It is a thread that binds us to one another, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles. When we share our pain, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for others to do the same. This mutual sharing builds bridges of empathy and compassion, deepening our relationships and fostering a sense of community. In this way, even our most painful experiences can become a source of connection and healing. And to embrace the dance of life is to embrace its unpredictability. It is to let go of the need for control and to trust in the natural ebb and flow of existence. It is to find beauty not only in the moments of joy, but also in the moments of struggle. For it is in these moments that we grow, that we discover our resilience, that we come to understand the depth and richness of life. Hurt, when viewed through this lens, becomes not a detour but a part of the path. It is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be faced with courage and grace. It is a step in the dance, a note in the melody, a chapter in the story. And when we learn to move with it, to flow with its rhythm, we find that it leads us to a deeper, more authentic experience of life. We find that it is not just the joy but the pain, not just the ease but the struggle, that makes life truly worth living. Life is not a race with a finish line, it is a dance where every step matters. To truly live is to embrace the journey, not merely chase the destination. In this grand play of existence, stopping is an illusion, a mirage created by fear and doubt. The spirit within us is eternal, capable of moving mountains and navigating the darkest nights. Today I invite you to awaken that flame within and declare to the world, I will never stop. Life unfolds like a symphony, where each note, each moment contributes to the harmony of the whole. Too often we fixate on the final crescendo, the grand ending we think we're moving toward, forgetting that the beauty lies not in the conclusion but in the music itself. We are taught to believe that life is a linear journey with clear milestones, goals and achievements that lead us to some ultimate destination. But what if there is no finish line? What if the destination we obsess over is a mirage, an illusion we chase at the expense of savoring the present? To never stop is to recognize that life is not about arriving, it is about being fully present in the unfolding. And consider the child learning to walk. They do not move from one point to another with the sole purpose of arriving. They stumble, they laugh, they cry, they rise again. The act of walking itself becomes the reward. The child delights in the process, the wobble, the attempt, and the eventual triumph of placing one foot in front of the other. As adults, we often lose this sense of wonder. We see only the goal ahead, blinded by the expectation of success, and in doing so, we miss the beauty of each moment. When you embrace the journey, you learn to love the dance, the rhythm of trying, failing, and growing. To embrace the journey is to understand that the path itself is alive. It speaks to you through every challenge, every triumph, and even every quiet moment of stillness. Imagine walking through a forest. If your eyes remain fixed on the horizon, intent only on reaching the other side, you miss the rustle of leaves, the play of sunlight on the ground, and the scent of pine in the air. The journey invites us to look around, to notice the intricacies of life that enrich us in ways a destination never could. Each step is a new experience, an unfolding mystery, a moment to deepen your connection to the world and yourself. When we focus solely on destinations, we reduce life to a checklist. We tell ourselves, I will be happy when I get the promotion, when I find the perfect partner, when I achieve this or that, but these achievements, while meaningful, are fleeting. The moment you reach them, the horizon moves further away. A new goal appears and the cycle repeats. What if happiness is not something to be reached, but something to be lived right now? To never stop is to let go of the illusion that fulfillment lies somewhere else. It is to find joy in the act of moving, of becoming, of simply being. Life's unpredictability is what makes it extraordinary. If every step of the journey were planned, if every moment could be controlled, life would lose its magic. Embracing the journey means opening yourself to the unknown, to the twists and turns, to the surprises that reveal the depth of your strength and the breadth of your resilience. It is in the unexpected that we often find our greatest treasures. The detours, the delays, the moments when life feels off course are not interruptions, they are the journey itself. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves stretching endlessly before you. You cannot control the tides, the winds, or the currents, but you can choose to swim, to feel the water against your skin, to surrender to the rhythm of the sea. Life is much the same. The journey is not about controlling every aspect, but about learning to flow, to adapt, to trust that each wave carries you forward, even if the direction is not immediately clear. When you embrace the journey, you begin to see that every experience is a teacher. The challenges are not obstacles meant to stop you, but lessons meant to shape you. The moments of doubt and struggle are not signs of failure, but opportunities to deepen your connection to yourself and your purpose. With each step, you grow stronger, wiser, more attuned to the beauty of the world and your place within it. To never stop is to declare that life itself is enough. It is to wake up each day with the knowledge that every moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is a thread in the tapestry of your existence. It is to understand that the dance of life is ongoing, and the joy lies not in finishing but in moving, creating, and living fully. Failure is one of life's most profound teachers, yet we are conditioned to avoid it at all costs. We equate failure with inadequacy, weakness, or defeat, and in doing so, we miss its true essence. Failure is a catalyst for growth. It is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a transformation. Every stumble, every setback, and every misstep is an invitation to rise, to adapt, and to become more than you were before. The only real failure is refusing to try, for it is in the trying, the falling, and the rising again that we find our strength and purpose. Think about the seed that falls into the ground. It doesn't resist the dirt that covers it or the darkness that surrounds it. Instead, it surrenders to the process, allowing the pressure and the weight to activate its potential. The seed cracks open, a process that might seem destructive, but it is this very breaking that allows it to grow. Without the breaking, without the struggle to push through the soil, there would be no tree, no blossoming, no fruit. Human growth mirrors this process. Failure cracks us open, forces us to confront our limits, and in doing so, reveals the boundless possibilities within us. When we fear failure, we shrink, we avoid risks, cling to what is safe, and remain confined within the walls of our comfort zones. But growth doesn't happen in comfort, it happens when we step into the unknown, knowing that we might stumble. To fail is to be human, and to be human is to learn. The most remarkable achievements in history have been born from countless failures. The light bulb was not invented in one attempt, it was the result of thousands of failed experiments. Each failure brought new insights, new strategies, and ultimately success. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset transforms failure from a roadblock into a stepping stone. Failure humbles us. It strips away our illusions of perfection and reminds us that we are works in progress. It teaches us resilience, the ability to keep moving forward despite challenges. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, it is the mastery of it. Each time we fall and rise again, we build a stronger foundation for the next challenge. We learn to trust our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to persevere. Failure sharpens us, refines us, and prepares us for the victories ahead. There is a profound beauty in failure, though it often doesn't feel that way in the moment. It can be painful, frustrating, even heartbreaking. But within that pain lies a hidden gift, the chance to rediscover who you are. Failure forces you to confront your fears, to question your beliefs, and to reassess your path. It strips away the superficial and brings you face to face with your core. It is in these moments of vulnerability that true strength is born. You begin to realize that your worth is not tied to your successes or failures, but to your willingness to keep trying, to keep showing up no matter what. When failure comes, as it inevitably will, welcome it as a teacher. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Every failure contains a lesson, a key to unlock the next stage of your journey. It is not a detour, but a part of the path. Even the most painful failures have the power to shape us in ways success never could. They teach us compassion, patience, and the importance of perseverance. They remind us that we are more than our circumstances and that our potential is limitless. Failure is also a powerful reminder of our humanity. It connects us, for we all experience it. No one is immune to setbacks, and in sharing our failures we find solidarity. When we see others rise after falling, we are inspired to do the same. Failure unites us in the shared experience of striving, struggling, and ultimately triumphing over adversity. To fear failure is to fear growth. To avoid failure is to avoid life itself. The next time you face a challenge and the possibility of failure looms large, remember this: every great accomplishment began with a risk, a leap into the unknown. Failure is not an enemy, it is an ally, pushing you to evolve, to dig deeper, and to reach higher. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it propel you forward. In every failure lies the seed of success, and in every setback the spark of greatness. The present moment is all we truly have. It is the foundation of every thought, every action, and every experience. Yet how often do we live anywhere but here and now? We linger in the past, replaying memories and regrets, or leap into the future, imagining what could be. This disconnect from the present weakens us, scattering our energy across moments that no longer exist or have yet to come. To fuel persistence and truly live without stopping, we must learn the power of presence, the ability to fully immerse ourselves in the now. The present is not a fleeting moment between the past and future, it is the eternal stage upon which life unfolds. Everything you experience happens in the now. The breath you are taking, the sound of the world around you, the sensations in your body, these are not distractions. They are the raw materials of life itself. When you anchor yourself in the present, you tap into a boundless reservoir of energy and clarity. You become more than just a passive observer of life, you become an active participant in its creation. Consider how often we let moments slip away unnoticed. We rush through our days preoccupied with to-do lists and goals, barely aware of the beauty and opportunities that surround us. We eat without tasting, listen without hearing, and speak without truly connecting. This disconnection drains us, leaving us feeling empty despite our constant activity. But when we pause and bring our full attention to the present, something remarkable happens. Life becomes vivid. Colors are brighter, sounds are richer, and even the most mundane tasks take on a sense of purpose. Presence is not just about slowing down, it is about focusing your entire being on what is before you. When you are present, fear diminishes. Anxiety often arises from projecting into the future, imagining outcomes that may never come to pass. Regret is rooted in the past, dwelling on what cannot be changed. But in the present, there is only what is. There is no room for fear or regret when you are fully engaged in the now. This focus creates a sense of freedom, a lightness that allows you to move forward with confidence and grace. Persistence is fueled by this focus. When your attention is scattered, your energy becomes fragmented. You may find yourself starting tasks but never finishing them, losing momentum because your mind is elsewhere. Presence gathers your energy, aligning your mind, body, and spirit toward a single purpose. It is the foundation of persistence because it keeps you grounded in what you can control your actions in this moment. By taking one step at a time, fully present in each, you build momentum that carries you through challenges and obstacles. Even in moments of struggle, presence offers solace. When life feels overwhelming, it is easy to become paralyzed by the magnitude of what lies ahead. But the truth is, you only ever have to face one moment at a time. Break it down, focus on the next step and the next. Presence teaches you that no matter how daunting the journey, you can handle it when you approach it moment by moment. This awareness extends to how we experience joy and success. Often we achieve a goal only to find ourselves immediately chasing the next. We fail to savor the victories because our minds are already fixated on the future. And presence allows us to celebrate our achievements no matter how small and to recognize the value of the effort we've invested. It reminds us that life is not a series of destinations but an ongoing, ever-changing process. Presence is not something we achieve once and for all, it is a practice, a choice we make repeatedly. It requires mindfulness, the willingness to notice when our thoughts drift and gently bring them back to the now. This practice strengthens with time, creating a habit of awareness that becomes second nature. To never stop is to commit to living fully in each moment, knowing that the present is where your power resides. It is to embrace the now as enough, trusting that by giving your best to this moment, you are shaping the moments to come. Presence is not a luxury, it is the key to persistence, resilience, and fulfillment. The present is where life happens, where growth occurs, and where the seeds of your dreams take root. By grounding yourself in the now, you ensure that no moment is wasted and you create a life of depth, purpose, and boundless potential. Deep within each of us lies a flame that burns eternal. It is not a fire fueled by external circumstances, nor can it be extinguished by the winds of adversity. This flame is our essence, our resilience, and our driving force. It is the part of us that endures through the darkest nights and the most tumultuous storms. To connect with this inner light is to unlock an infinite source of strength, creativity, and purpose. It is to recognize that no matter what challenges arise, there is something within us that is unyielding, unbreakable, and eternal. Life often tests our connection to this inner flame. Difficulties arise, setbacks occur, and at times the world feels heavy. In these moments it is easy to doubt ourselves, to believe that our strength has limits. But this belief is an illusion. The flame within us never truly dims, it only becomes obscured by our fear, doubt, and hesitation. The task is not to create the flame, it is already there, but to clear away what blocks its light. Think of a fire hidden beneath a pile of ashes. At first glance, it might seem as though the fire is gone, but when you blow gently on the embers, the glow returns. The flame was never extinguished, it was simply waiting to be reignited. Our inner flame is much the same. When life covers us with layers of doubt or discouragement, it may feel as though our spark has faded. Yet, with a little effort, a shift in perspective, or even the smallest act of courage, we can breathe life into it once more. This flame is the source of our persistence. It is what drives us to get back up after falling, to try again when success seems distant, and to continue forward even when the path is unclear. It is the part of us that knows giving up is not an option because we are capable of so much more than we realize. The flame reminds us that our potential is not defined by our circumstances, but by our willingness to keep going, to keep striving, and to keep believing. This inner light is also deeply connected to our sense of purpose. It guides us, illuminating the things that truly matter and helping us navigate the distractions and noise of the world. When we lose sight of this purpose, we may feel adrift, unsure of which direction to take. But the flame is always there, waiting to guide us back to ourselves. By listening to its quiet voice, we can find clarity amidst chaos and focus amidst confusion. The flame is not a solitary thing, it is fueled by our connections to others and the world around us. Just as a fire grows stronger when it is fed with oxygen, our inner light grows when we share it with others. Acts of kindness, moments of gratitude, and expressions of love all strengthen the flame, both within ourselves and in those around us. It is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles or our triumphs. The same flame that burns within us burns within others, creating a web of resilience and hope that connects us all. Even in the darkest moments, the flame persists. When life feels overwhelming and the way forward seems impossible, it is there, steady and unyielding. It whispers that we are stronger than we know, that the darkness is temporary, and that within us lies everything we need to overcome. And to trust in this flame is to trust in our ability to endure, adapt, and rise. It is to know that no matter how many times we are knocked down, we can and will rise again. This flame is a testament to our humanity. It is what makes us creative, passionate, and capable of change. It is what allows us to dream of a better future and take the steps to make it a reality. To connect with this flame is to connect with the core of who we are, not as flawed beings defined by our failures, but as powerful creators defined by our potential. The beauty of this inner light is that it is limitless. It does not diminish with use, it grows. The more we draw upon it, the brighter it shines, illuminating not only our path, but also the paths of those around us. It inspires, empowers, and reminds us of what is possible. To live with this flame at the center of our being is to live fully, fearlessly, and authentically. It is to declare to the world and to ourselves that we will never stop, not because we are unafraid of challenges, but because we know the light within us is greater than any challenge we face. Stopping is a concept we often accept without question, a boundary we believe is real. But what if stopping is nothing more than an illusion? What if the limits we perceive are self-imposed constructs of fear, doubt, and hesitation? The truth is, as long as we are alive, we are in motion. Life itself is a constant flow, a dynamic and ever-changing journey. To stop is to deny the very essence of existence, for even in moments of stillness, growth is happening. The idea of stopping is a mirage, one that dissolves when we embrace the fullness of life and our capacity to adapt, evolve, and persevere. Consider how nature embodies this truth. Rivers do not stop flowing because they encounter rocks or obstacles they find a way around, carving new paths as they go. Trees do not stop growing because of harsh weather, they adapt, bending with the wind and reaching for the sun. Even the smallest seed, buried deep in the soil, doesn't stop its struggle to break free and grow into something magnificent. Nature doesn't stop, and neither do we. To live is to move, to grow, and to continually push the boundaries of what we thought possible. Stopping feels real because it often comes disguised as fear. Fear whispers that we are not capable, that the challenges ahead are too great, or that failure is inevitable. It tells us that retreating, pausing, or giving up is the safer choice. But fear is a liar, a trickster that magnifies our doubts and obscures our potential. When we look beyond fear, we realize that the only true limits are the ones we impose on ourselves. The human spirit is boundless, capable of adapting and thriving in ways we cannot always foresee. Even in moments where it feels like life has brought us to a halt, motion is still present. Think of times when you have faced what seemed like insurmountable challenges. Perhaps you felt stuck, as though progress was impossible. Yet even in those moments you were changing. Your mind was processing, your heart was learning, and your spirit was preparing for the next step. What feels like stopping is often just a period of transformation, a necessary pause before a surge forward. It is not an end, but a preparation for a new beginning. Stopping also appears in the guise of perfectionism. We convince ourselves that we cannot move forward until everything is just right, that the conditions must be ideal, the plan flawless, the timing perfect. But life is rarely perfect, and waiting for perfection is another way of stopping. Progress is not about having all the answers or eliminating all risks. It is about taking the next step, no matter how small or uncertain. Each step forward builds momentum, and with momentum comes clarity, confidence, and the realization that perfection is not required to succeed. The illusion of stopping is also tied to our view of success. We often see success as a final destination, a point at which we can rest and declare the journey complete. But success is not static. It is not a finish line to cross, but a series of evolving milestones. Each achievement leads to new opportunities, new challenges, and new horizons. To believe in stopping is to limit the scope of what we can accomplish, to confine ourselves to a narrow definition of success, rather than embracing the endless possibilities that lie ahead. Even failure, often seen as a reason to stop, is not an endpoint. It is a pivot, a lesson, a doorway to something greater. Failure forces us to reevaluate, to grow, and to innovate. It teaches us resilience, showing us that setbacks are not barriers but stepping stones. Each failure contains the seeds of success, and each setback propels us closer to our goals if we refuse to stop. Stopping is a choice, but it is not the only choice. We can choose instead to keep moving, to keep striving, and to keep believing in the infinite potential within us. We can choose to see obstacles not as endings, but as opportunities to grow stronger. We can choose to let go of fear, embrace imperfection, and trust that even the smallest steps will lead us forward. Life is a continuum, a constant unfolding. To live fully is to embrace this truth, to recognize that stopping is an illusion, and that motion is our natural state. Whether we are taking bold strides or small, tentative steps, we are moving. Whether we are achieving great victories or quietly learning from setbacks, we are growing. To never stop is to honor the rhythm of life, to trust in our ability to adapt, and to believe that as long as we are in motion, anything is possible. The journey has no end, and that is where its beauty lies.